Last night was another Republican presidential debate among the candidates who are challenging Donald Trump for the nomination. And as you know, he doesn't bother showing up for these things because it's a complete waste of his time since he's so far ahead in the polls. And if you didn't know that there was a debate last night, and this is the first you're hearing about it, it doesn't mean that you're uninformed. It's just, well, I'll have Jimmy Fallon explain.
And the debate will air on the CW network and News Nation. So if you want to know how good a chance these candidates have, the debate is airing on the CW network and News Nation.
You gotta admit, that was a good joke. And if there's any hope for late night comedy to be funny again, it resides with Jimmy Fallon, who is the least political of the three big network late night hosts. News Nation is the fledgling cable channel that's trying to market themselves as a centrist channel, as opposed to the right-wing Fox News and the leftist Marxist CNN and MSNBC, who hired Fredo, Chris Cuomo, the former face of CNN Primetime, to be their primetime anchor. A cable channel that has literally fewer viewers than me, a guy in my kitchen on a laptop. Last I checked, their primetime lineup averages about 100,000 viewers. Their daytime viewers are about 75,000. This was a smart move on their part to try to get some attention and establish themselves as a real cable channel. And also, to try to get some attention, they hired Megyn Kelly as one of the moderators. Even though she doesn't even work at the network, she is a YouTuber. Her YouTube channel is produced by Sirius XM Radio, but nobody is listening to her on the satellite radio. They're watching on YouTube. She's in the million sub club now. So instead of even having their own anchors host the debate, they hired Megyn Kelly. And I got a bunch of clips lined up for you. I'll play them in just a second. And it would have been a stale and boring debate if it weren't for Vivek Ramaswamy, who mopped the floor with Krispy Kreme and Nikki Haley, and once again was the star of the show. And Megyn Kelly started off the debate with this banger of a question for Little Ron.
We begin with the question of electability. Governor DeSantis, your campaign and its super PAC have spent the most money, had the most high net worth donors, and had a wave of momentum coming into this race after your big re-election win in Florida. You were seen by many as the candidate most likely to consolidate the non-Trump field. But here we are, a month out from the first real votes, and you haven't managed to do it. In fact, Nikki Haley is beating you in New Hampshire and South Carolina now, and closing in on you in Iowa.
She, of course, is the Republican establishment's favorite candidate. She is the neocon. I'll get into her more in a moment. But even the clowns on CNN, the fake Republicans over there, are all gaslighting for her. They want her to be the nominee.
Not to mention Trump, who is not only dominating in the early states, but is beating you in Florida by over 30 points. Is it fair to say, as Senator Tim Scott did when he dropped out, that voters are telling you not no, but not now?
So we have a great idea in America that the voters actually make these decisions, not pundits or pollsters.
That's a good response, actually. And just so you know, that audio issue, that wasn't on my end. That was from News Nation, because when you're a fledgling cable channel like that with no viewers and no money, apparently they're having a hard time finding a qualified audio technician. The highlight of the evening was when Vivek Ramaswamy exposed neocon Nikki Haley, not just as the warmonger that she is, and lying about the quagmire, the stalemate between Russia and Ukraine, still insisting that Russia is almost about to lose any minute now. But when he said this.
One thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, I mean, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for. And there's her puppet masters right there, the donors right there that are playing her like the puppet masters.
Enough. It was a little hard to hear, but the moderator asked Krispy Kreme if he wanted to respond. Not Nikki Haley, a qualified moderator, a real moderator, would have put her on the spot and asked her to name at least 3 of the provinces in Ukraine that she wants to send American troops over there to fight for, but they didn't. But Nikki Haley did spend the entire evening, as usual, talking about her favorite country and what she would do as president of the United States in order to protect them.
We really do need to ban TikTok once and for all. And let me tell you why.
Is it because TikTok is largely responsible for normalizing gender bending amongst the kids? All those gender non-binary teachers that the Libs of TikTok Twitter account found, and how it's an information warfare machine undermining American culture?
For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok, every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that. We now know that 50% of adults 18 to 25 think that Hamas was warranted in what they did with Israel.
No, they don't. That is obvious Zionist propaganda that is designed to conflate people having sympathy for the Palestinian people as a whole in Gaza and try to portray that as if they support Hamas. She also said that she wants to redefine the term anti-Semitism, so when people do have sympathy for the Palestinian people, like when 700,000 of them were expelled from the region when the State of Israel was created back in 1948, then you will be considered to be anti-Semitic if you do not believe that the Jews deserve that land.
Biden made a mistake not including anti-Zionism in the definition of anti-Semitism. If you don't think that Israel has a right to exist, that is anti-Semitic. We will change the definition so that every government, every school has to acknowledge the definition for what it is.
I'm sorry, lady, but most people are not saying that they don't have a right to exist as a nation. They're just wondering and a little suspicious about those areas where the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were kicked out of their homes in what was called the Nakba, or the Palestinian expulsion, that you're, of course, not supposed to talk about in conservative politics.
But don't think that decision to recognize Israel is an easy one. I had to make a compromise with the Arabs and divide Palestine. The Jews wanted to chase all the Arabs into the Tigris and Euphrates River, and the Arabs wanted to chase all the Jews into the Red Sea. And what I was trying to do was to find a homeland for the Jews and still be just with the Arabs. We had several other people in the country, even among the Jews, the Zionists particularly, who were against anything that was to be done if they couldn't have the whole of Palestine and everything handed to them on a silver plate so they wouldn't have to do anything. It couldn't be done. We had to take it in small doses. You can't move 5 or 6 million people out of a country and fill it up with 5 or 6 million more and expect both sets of them to be pleased.
Krispy Kreme was at the debate for 3 reasons: to attack Donald Trump, to attack Vivek Ramaswamy, and to basically endorse Nikki Haley as his candidate of choice.
This man is spewing nonsense. Let me tell you something. This is the fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a little while.
I'm gonna respond to that.
I want to say your version of
I'll take that.
I want to say something else. We're now 25 minutes into this debate, and he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence.
Yes, that was on display for all of America to see. Look at her just bow her head in shame. And then Vivek ended Krispy Kreme's presidential aspirations with this response.
We learned 3 things. We learned 3 things right there. First of all, Christie also doesn't know what provinces in eastern Ukraine he actually wants us to fight for. Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York.
Yeah.
So do everybody a favor, just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this race. When it comes to Nikki, I think if you're going to actually send your...
Vivek also said something, again, that he had mentioned at one of the previous debates that I can't show you because it's a violation of YouTube's terms of service to mention certain facts. And so, of course, the facts get fact-checked by the fake fact-checkers, the fact suppressors. He mentioned something, you could just read it there on the screen, and so the fact suppressors all denounced him as spreading a falsehood. But it was these comments that caused the liberal media to melt down the most. And I was watching CNN's post-debate coverage. they were completely flipping out about it, but I couldn't save any of the clips because there's some problem with my capture card. I'll show you a couple of the print responses, but this is what he said.
And if you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. Why am I the only person on this stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job? That the government lied to us for 20 years about Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11? That the Great Replacement theory is not some grand right-wing conspiracy theory, but a basic statement of the Democratic Party's platform?
The Great Replacement, as you probably know, is a culture Marxist term meaning replacement migration. The globalists plan to turn white people into minority in the United States by allowing the massive floods of 25, might even be 30 million illegal aliens now who they allowed to flood into the country. And then they celebrate white people becoming a minority. But as soon as you point that out, if you don't celebrate it, then of course you're called a white nationalist. NBC News, Vivek Ramaswamy voices support for a variety of far-right conspiracy theories at the fourth GOP debate, suggesting at one point that the most peaceful protest at the Capitol was an inside A object. Huffington Post upset about it. Vivek Ramaswamy falsely claims that the most peaceful protest was well, you know what. Now, a lot of people are hoping that Donald Trump picks Vivek as his running mate, but I'll tell you why I don't think that's going to happen at all, because let's be real, Donald Trump has quite a large ego, and there's no way that he's going to pick somebody like Vivek who could overshadow him or outshine him in certain contexts. So whoever he's going to pick is going to have to be somebody who's a little more introverted, let's just say. Now, Vivek would make a fantastic press secretary, although he might be slightly overqualified for that job. But could you imagine him battling the press every day? Hopefully, he will be in Trump's cabinet in some capacity, but I would say the odds of him being Trump's running mate are probably slim to none.
I want you all to kind of picture in your minds Election Day. You'll all be heading to the polls to vote, and that's something that Donald Trump will not be able to do, because he will be convicted of felonies before then, and his right to vote will be taken away. You know, look.
He may actually be right. Now, hear me out. As Christmas approaches and New Year's over the next few weeks, things are going to calm down and seem like they're somewhat normal, but come January, things are going to get very intense very quick. And even if Donald Trump is convicted and sentenced and the appeals are rejected and he is in prison, I will still be voting for him, even if they take his name off the ballot. If he is the Republican nominee, he has my vote, period. At this point, the only way that he's not going to be the nominee is if by some miracle he decides to take plea deals and drop out of the race, which I can't see happening, or God forbid, he has some sort of a supposed health emergency. What we all need to do over the next 3.5 weeks as the year winds down is have a good time with our family and friends over Christmas and New Year's. And then come January 2024, everybody better buckle up, because we're in for a very rough ride no matter what happens. And make Christmas dinner extra special this year by wearing your Trump Calling sweatshirt or t-shirt, which you have to order from markdice.com if you haven't already. And don't be a slacker and keep putting it off. Get your orders in now. And also get some Christmas shopping done as well by ordering some people on your list a Wanted for President shirt, a Conspiracy Theorist for Right shirt, an Operation Mockingbird shirt, F Joe Biden shirt, or any of my awesome designs, all available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.